Today I'm going to share with you a nonsense poem. That's a poem that, well, doesn't make any sense. It is a poem full of made-up words. There are many authors that like to make up words like Roald Dahl and Lewis Carroll. Now you might know Lewis and Carroll from Alice in Wonderland, that's right. And in his second book called Through the Looking Glass, he has a poem called Jabberwocky. I'm going to read the first stanza of it, and you see if it makes any sense to you. "'Twas brillig and the slithy toves did gyre and gimble in the wabe. All mimsy were the borogoves, and the mome raths outgrabe." Huh? When I have people read this, they're like, huh? I don't get it. So what we're going to do is we're going to play around with this nonsense poem and figure out some ways to help it make sense. So the first thing that you can do is you can divide up the groups, and there are many stanzas in this poem. Divide up your class into different groups, and each group takes a different stanza. And then they try to interpret what they think that stanza might mean. What do they think those words might be? For example, here are some made-up words that you might find in that poem that Lewis Carroll created. A borogove. This is a bird. So what kind of a bird do you think it might be? Just use your imaginations. Here's an action that he made up. To gyre. Now this was sort of inspired by a gyroscope. So what do you think it might mean? Okay, speculating. Here's a sound that comes from one of the stanzas. To outgrabe or gribbling. I see, when they're made up words, you don't even know how to say it. But what sound do you think that might mean? So when you're looking at these made up words, you make associations with things that you know of, some prior knowledge that you bring to the poem. So each group interprets the stanza of the poem in their own words. And then they read the poem again, each one reading their new version. And it's a lot of fun because suddenly it makes sense. Then you read the original version again, and suddenly you have all of these pictures in your heads. And people become very interactive with this nonsense poetry. Another thing that he liked to do is he liked to take words that, and here I'm just digging around on my paper, on my table here. He liked to take words, two different words, and put them together. Like lithe and slimy. Lithe is kind of like and slimy, and he made the word slithy. So you can look at some of those words too, like this one, flimsy and miserable makes the word mimsy. And so then you can think about, what does the word flimsy mean, you know, like floppy, and what does the word miserable mean, like ooh. So then what do you think the word mimsy might be if it's a combination of the definitions of for flimsy and miserable? So that's another activity that you can do, is take two different words that don't make any sense at all and put them together and create a brand new word. You're creating new language. And that's exactly what Lewis Carroll did in his poem Jabberwocky. So give it a try, and if you want to know what some of the words mean, you can look later on in the book Through the Looking Glass, and Humpty Dumpty answers those questions when Alice asks. So in another session here on CyberBridge, we're going to be talking about made-up words and how they become a part of English language, because that's what language is. It's always moving, it's always changing, and it's we who create the language of tomorrow. So have fun with Jabberwocky. We'll see you next time.